Hello, and welcome to the ShopLogic podcast. This is episode 5, and I am your host, Adrienne. If it's your first time joining us on the ShopLogic podcast, it is all about ethical consumerism, how together we can make better buying choices that help affect animals, people, and the planet in a positive way, not a negative way. It's just about knowing what to buy, what to boycott, what to support with your dollars, and what to avoid, so you do not send the message that it is something that we want from a consumer aspect. On today's episode, we will be discussing holiday commercialism, alternative gift ideas, ethical New Year's Eve party prep, healthier charcuterie ideas without cured meats, VEGANUARY challenge in January. So what is ShopLogic? It's a project I created which turned into a website, app, podcast that you're now listening to, and will soon be an ethical brand certifier. The ultimate goal is knowing which brands to support with your spending. There are so many ethical brands out there, but unfortunately, so many unethical brands that do harm to our health, environment, animals, and laborers. It's simply a matter of knowing which ones are which. Your choices actually do change the world, and your change starts in the cart. It's not just about food, it's also about what we choose to purchase in terms of personal care products, clothing, miscellaneous goods, and a lot more. I'm Adrienne. I am the creator of ShopLogic, and what I like to do is collect and organize data. I like to create tools that help myself and you understand the implications of what we consume. I dig much deeper for answers and am all about transparency when it comes to what I buy. Sadly, a lot of brands out there are not so transparent and might give an impression that they are ethical when they're actually doing a lot of harm and not help. Who are you as a listener? Perhaps someone looking for guidance on what things to watch out for before buying them. You're someone who questions what difference they can make in the world. You're someone who wishes to gain insight about your shopping decisions and not fall for cheap marketing tricks that might make you believe something is healthy when it's not, or eco-friendly when it's actually destructive, or ethically and socially acceptable, despite the exploitation of innocent animals and laborers. On last week's episode, we discussed Starbucks seasonal drinks, is the company ethical, baking with spices, sustainability and health, winter outerwear, down fur and materials to avoid for animals, vegan brands for warm coats and jackets, nail polish, is it vegan, cruelty-free, toxic for health? So without further ado, let's get right to it with today's topics. Christmas and the holidays, whichever holiday you might celebrate, it seems that they've all turned commercialistic. They found a way to get people to buy things they don't need and spend money they don't have just to feel adequate in terms of the holiday season. So it's actually a trend that grew in the 1940s with early marketers seeking sales potential, leading Santa into ads in stores, evolving into today's elaborate holiday campaigns by major brands, Coca-Cola, Apple, a lot of others that often aim to evoke emotion and drive consumerism, with a lot of us feeling like it's gone way too far. What I recently learned is they first started the in-store Santa in 1862 in the US. Macy's introduced the first in-store Santa, solidifying the commercial link. You will find Santa in shopping malls and anywhere that's just so conveniently close to a retail store, encouraging us to buy, spend, shop. The implications include consumer expectation. It's now become an annual tradition expected by the status quo. They've created an emotional connection. These brands use heartwarming, sometimes stressful, even stories to connect with families and encourage the spending. So many people think Christmas has just become excessively commercial, desiring a return to its deeper meaning. In essence, Christmas transitioned from a religious or spiritual holiday to a major consumer event, which just grows and grows. This holiday materialism creates this societal pressure to shop and for a lot of gifts that nobody needs. There's so many dumb gifts. I got to thinking instead, what are some practical gift ideas that don't encourage frivolous, reckless spending on junk that people don't want, they're never going to use, or maybe just use once or twice, and then it's all going to end up in the landfill as a post-consumer consequence. So I like the practical gift ideas that include food, gift cards, money, and experiences. I think that experiences create memories, which is much better than materialism. So here are some ideas for gifting or experiences you can have with family and friends in town over the holidays. So cooking classes, it's a way you can learn new skills, enjoy food, something you could do together. Home improvement workshops actually exist. So if you enjoy DIY projects, do it yourself, or working on basics like carpentry or painting, that could also be a really fun gift. where you feel productive, you learn valuable skills, and can tackle some projects. Gardening. So you could do some gardening gifts, like high quality set of gardening tools, a subscription to a gardening magazine, a gift certificate to a local nursery, that kind of thing. Self-care and wellness retreats. This would be right up my alley. I would love to do like a meditation retreat or a yoga retreat or any type of like exercise or mind, body, and soul activity. It helps you unwind and recharge with like a weekend getaway focused on just relaxation. Could be going to the spa or again, healthy cooking classes. Outdoor adventures, you could give someone the chance to connect with nature and have a very thrilling time with activities such as kayaking, paddleboarding, rock climbing, zip lining, or a guided hiking trip. And there's also subscription boxes tailored towards more specific interests, such as a subscription to coffee or snacks or cleaning supplies, personal care products. So those are just a few things to consider instead of just spending your money on absolute garbage. That way you can make memories, spend time with loved ones. It's way more unique and special and aligns with someone's particular values. Most importantly, I think putting people before possessions kind of goes back to the whole root of what these holidays are supposed to be about, something that's just a bit more fulfilling to the mind, body, and soul. What are some of your most favorite Christmas gifts in the past? Is there anything really special or unique you have gotten during a gift exchange or from a loved one that you felt stood out? Of course, when it comes to children, they like making handcrafted items. It's really creative and special to the recipient. My classic favorite gifts have been food, honestly. If it's something I like to eat or a gift card to a grocery store, I'm very content with that. That's pretty much all I need. Or like, yeah, it sounds a bit mundane, maybe a little boring, unthrilling, but what I like most is the practicality of it. I know I need it. I'm going to be spending that money anyway. So a gift card to a grocery store or actual snacks would be right up my alley. So it is Christmas today, and New Year's Eve is just around the corner. Some common foods, if you are going to a get-together, would be it's mostly like appetizers. I think a lot of people do super easy finger foods, dips, some grazing items, because it is a holiday kind of based around drinking. And some of the most popular New Year's Eve party food ideas include pigs in a blanket, bacon wrapped items, stuffed mushrooms, shrimp cocktails, sliders, and meatballs. Most of that I would not eat because it is heavily meat-based, but there are definitely ways you can veganize it. There's also certain dips and grazing boards, baked brie, spinach artichoke dip, charcuterie boards, deviled eggs, bruschetta bar. Warm and cozy bites would include mozzarella sticks, mini quiches, pot stickers, dumplings, empanadas, or some sweet treats like chocolate-covered pretzels or fruit. So it can be veganized, absolutely. There are plenty of finger foods and small appetizers that you can have. You can veganize pretty much anything. Stuffed mushrooms, for instance, you could use vegan cheese, or meatballs, you can make vegan using Impossible Beef or Beyond Beef. Sliders, same thing. It would entail cooking from home. And a lot of these things seem like you would just buy them at the grocery in the frozen food section and warm them up, making them very easy and convenient. But I think, in terms of charcuterie boards and stuff, you could play around with it. There's a lot of champagne and caviar. I've definitely had champagne. I've never had caviar. I don't even know what it tastes like. What is caviar? Caviar is essentially roe, meaning fish eggs, like raw fish eggs. Why would caviar not be ethical? It's widely debated that caviar is seen as problematic due to traditional harvesting methods and the endangered status of wild sturgeon populations, which is the fish that they use the most to create caviar. Consuming something like caviar is leading to severe overfishing and habitat destruction. Not only the sturgeon species, but the beluga are now critically endangered and protected by international regulations. Traditional production involves killing the female sturgeon to extract her ovaries when the eggs are nearly mature. It's unsustainable and definitely raises significant animal welfare concerns. Cruelty investigations into some of these farms have found inhumane practices such as fish being kept in cramped, filthy tanks, repeatedly subjected to painful sampling procedures, and they're sometimes beaten to death. Apparently, farmed caviar is more sustainable from an environmental standpoint. However, sturgeons can take 6 to 10 years to reach the maturity in which they can produce caviar, and so they're kept in that time in environments that lead to stress, disease, abnormal behaviors due to confinement, water quality issues, and handling. There are some no-kill methods. So in response to ethical concerns, there's no-kill or ovulated methods where the eggs are gently massaged, stripped, or milked from the fish, often after hormone therapy, allowing the sturgeon to survive the procedure and produce more eggs over her lifetime. But there are welfare concerns with that. That to me does not sound very ethical or cruelty-free. These non-lethal methods are not without welfare implications. So they involve routine handling and surgical procedures like C-sections or keyhole surgery, which cause pain, distress, and potential injury to the fish. Perhaps the best alternative is to not only just abstain from eating caviar altogether, but believe it or not, there are plant-based alternatives. So vegan and plant-based caviar is available. It mimics the taste and texture without using any animal products, which provides a truly cruelty-free, guilt-free option. There are so many vegan caviar brands that exist. It's a sustainable plant-based alternative to traditional roe. It's usually made from seaweed or algae, tapioca, and other ingredients, which mimic the texture and the flavor with different infusions like truffles or black pepper for the gourmet appeal. Not only is it cholesterol-free, like we know all plant-based vegan options to be, it's cruelty-free and offers a versatile, subtle ocean taste for appetizers and dishes that require that pop of flavor without harming marine life. Probably the most popular brand that I have seen is Caviart, or there's even do-it-yourself recipes at home, although that does sound like a process. Caviart is one of the many vegan brands you can find on the ShopLogic app. Caviart is an award-winning brand of sustainable plant-based caviar. They make it from seaweed. It has a very similar look, taste, etc., although I honestly wouldn't be able to tell the difference because I've never had caviar. Another advantage is that vegan caviar is allergy-free. It's free from gluten, soy, and cholesterol. Specifically with this brand Caviart, they have the black seaweed pearls and a red-orange variety. So I do encourage you to check out the ShopLogic app to discover certain vegan brands and alternatives, which make it so much easier to go plant-based. And something I remembered when I was digging into researching caviar is that caviar vending machine. Have you seen them? They exist, and when I worked in a shopping mall in Los Angeles, I remember seeing these vending machines. So thinking that was so crazy that they would have a caviar vending machine is very odd. Apparently it is popular in places like Los Angeles, Japan, and serves as like, they're catering to high-end consumers needing quick access to caviar, like they consume it on a regular basis. A little silly. The machines are keeping the products chilled, and the dispense items come in insulated containers. They offer a variety of products and secure payment. I mean, machines like caviar can get super, super expensive if it's the fish-based caviar, but plant-based vegan caviar, another advantage you see there is it's a nice budget-friendly option. It definitely is not so exotic that it's going to put you out a fortune. So that's something, if you want to make your New Year's party a bit special, a bit different, is having some plant-based caviar. It'd be a nice topic of conversation for the guests at the party. Speaking of New Year's parties and the charcuterie boards that everyone seems to be into now. Charcuterie boards, I think, have become really popular in like the last 10 years. Before that, I don't think anyone even knew what they were. I guess we can thank Pinterest and Instagram for all of the really colorful, decorative looking, very artistic, appetizing cutting boards where people place food strategically on it to create quite the display for your holiday guests. But oftentimes on these charcuterie boards, you are going to see the cured meats. You're going to see salami or pepperoni or prosciutto or something of that nature. And a lot of cheese for dipping crackers into the cheese or have as a spread, something of that nature. But what is wrong with the meat and dairy? Well, if you've listened to this podcast before, you should know by now that concerns with meat and dairy from a health perspective would include heart disease, certain cancers, diabetes due to saturated fat, cholesterol, hormones, antibiotics, inflammation, and from the sustainability perspective, you have environmental impacts on deforestation, emission. Ethical issues, of course, would be animal welfare and the efficiency that these factory farms like to pursue, which includes resource-intensive feeding, turning over a profit as quickly as possible. So, not to mention lactose intolerance or any allergies you might have. It goes much, much deeper into that, but generally speaking, it's always best to avoid meat and dairy for yourself, for illness prevention. You might not see it right away, but over time that stuff adds up. And you want to do all the preventative measures you can do while you can still make these choices before it's too late. But cured meats, the cured meats that we find on these charcuterie boards, they contain nitrites and nitrates, as well as high sodium. They all form cancer-causing compounds called nitrosamines when digested, which increases a lot of potential for colorectal, stomach, and other cancers, not to mention heart disease, high blood pressure. I mean, there's so many consequences to eating this stuff. Unhealthy fats, preservatives, they are linked to weight gain and chronic disease. All in all, the cured meats are perhaps some of the worst. Other examples may include bacon and hot dogs, things we feed to our children. And you're trying to make a difference, especially if yes, it might be more of a vanity reason or a superficial reason, but yeah, weight gain. Even if you're considering it from a standpoint of, I want to look good, because that's actually an aspect you will see sooner rather than later when you consume food. Whereas the cancer and the high blood pressure, that might take a lot of time before it rears its ugly head. So weight gain, yeah, you could see that pretty much right away, especially as you age. I mean, you eat a French fry and you gain 5 pounds. And especially with the new year coming up, you probably have a lot of fitness and health goals and weight loss, because the holiday season is that time when everyone's overeating. They are making exceptions and indulging in desserts and sweet stuff, etc. What's really cool is on the ShopLogic app, you can search for a keyword like nitrites, nitrates, or high sodium, like cholesterol, and the results will show you in the ingredients portion of the app all of the ingredients that are linked to those types of health side effects. So the app is totally for free. I created it myself. It's an ever-expanding database. So I love to add more and more ingredients on there every day, and other non-food but consumer-related categories, such as materials that you might buy, like found in your clothing and shoes. Also, you could browse different brands to see food brands, personal care brands, cosmetic brands, even pet brands. You could also see different lists if you are trying to go gluten-free or find out what is vegan and non-vegan, high alkaline or acidity foods. You have different lists. So it is a wealth of resource for you and myself as well. I created this app because I thought there's nothing else like it. I could really benefit. That way I don't have to Google every single thing in the store. The whole name of the game is at a glance. You can very quickly see a comprehensive overview of ingredients. And just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's sustainable. It works all kinds of ways. So you'd be surprised. It's totally unbiased. So even though I love to preach, go vegan, go plant-based, I'm being realistic and looking at facts that I find through online research to say, okay, potato chips, they might be vegan, but they're going to be high sodium, for instance, and that's something you might want to avoid. Or there are plenty of other items out there that you might not know are not vegan. You'd be surprised what they can use in terms of the production process. So check it out. It's really enlightening, and I'd love to hear your feedback. If there's anything that's missing, please feel free to send a message, leave a comment. So if you did want to make a vegan charcuterie board, how are you going to do that? Well, here are some ideas. You can make a delicious plant-based platter featuring vegan cheeses, plant-based meats, dips such as hummus and baba ganoush, which is based on eggplant, guacamole, fresh fruits like grapes and berries, dried fruits like apricots and dates, some crunchy veggies for like a crudité of carrots, peppers, radishes, and definitely some nuts for your protein, your healthy form of protein, almonds, walnuts, some olives, and maybe some pickles, as well as crackers and breads. Wow, I'm getting really hungry all of a sudden. Gee, I wonder why. I know you're thinking, well, vegan deli meat, like probably never seen that before, but you can find it pretty easily. Some brands include Tofurkey, Light Life, Field Roast, Unreal Deli, and Yes Veggie Cuisine. They offer alternatives like sliced turkey, ham, roast beef style. with some options for smoky to peppered flavors. They are available in tons of grocery stores, just have to look for it. And out of all of these brands, I prefer Unreal Deli. They are famous for their roasted turkey and steak slices, often praised for realistic flavor. So of course, that brand is 100% vegan. There's no question about it. If you see it, you can quickly grab it off the shelf, put it into your cart. If not buying animal products and ingredients is your main concern, you could buy that without hesitation. That's just one of the many things you can learn on the shop. Whereas some of these other brands, they do have like a Simple Truth, which is found at Kroger and Ralph's. They're praised for their Black Forest ham style slices with authentic smoky flavor. However, Simple Truth is not a fully vegan brand, so that is something you would want to buy with more caution and scrutinize the label just to cover your bases and make sure you see the word vegan on there somewhere, or manually go through each ingredient and see for yourself and have to validate the authenticity of it being vegan yourself. What's more, with the ShopLogic app is you can browse different brands or different ingredients and see if they're fully vegan, gluten-free, allergy-safe, organic, non-GMO. Pertaining to brands listed on the ShopLogic app, they are not all vegan necessarily, but it's a combination of some really cool brands you may have not heard of that are vegan, plant-based, etc., or some more common brands, mainstream, that have introduced some vegan products if you want to go that route. But maybe you prefer, like I do, given the choice, I'd rather support a fully vegan brand that does not have a combined profit structure of slaughtering animals and exploiting them for their byproducts. You'll see which food brands are vegan, allergy safe, organic, non-GMO, if they use palm oil, any eco-friendly actions the brand does to stand above the rest, and any additional ethical notes, contact info for the brand if you wanted to express your feedback. And it's not just about health, it's not just about vegan, it's not just about sustainability, it's not just about fair trade, labor aspects, it's all of it. And that is the point as an ethical consumer. That's why I don't consider this a vegan podcast, despite how much I mention the word vegan and talk about vegan foods. I care, as a lot of people do, not just if animals are involved in the process, but the side effects of what a product be doing to our planet, to our health, to the people who produce these items. It can sound a bit overwhelming, but trust me, the more you educate yourself, the easier it becomes to know what to be aware of. Awareness is always, always better than having an ignorant attitude. What can I do to make a difference? So don't forget that it's always better to be aware, and any small difference you can make when it comes to your shopping choices really does create a big difference in the grand scheme of things, because the brands have no choice but to pay attention to marketing trends. And, it all goes back to consumer demand, or what is the term? Supply and demand. That's what I was looking for. Speaking of healthier choices, it is about to be the new year. We're coming up on 2026, and perhaps you've thought of some New Year's resolutions you would like to implement in your life. Different challenges exist out there, so that's what I want to focus on for a second. If you recall, November was No Shave November. It's essentially a challenge where men grow mustaches or beards to raise awareness and funds for men's health issues such as prostate cancer. December, although I've never heard of this, there was Maintain Don't Gain, which is a holiday challenge for the health and wellness community where participants focus on maintaining their current weight and fitness throughout the holiday season. The start of the year sees a significant spike in fitness and self-improvement challenges. Common themes include 30-day workout plans, a plank challenge, marathons, Jumpstart January, 5 a.m. wake-up calls. Ugh, I'll skip that one, thank you. And my favorite of all, Veganuary. Well, Veganuary is, as you can imagine, a month-long challenge, which is a global movement where people pledge to eat a vegan diet. So no meat, dairy, eggs, honey for the entire month of January. It's supported by a UK nonprofit that provides recipes, tips, and resources to encourage trying a diet for health, animal, environment. My personal story when it comes to transitioning from vegetarian to vegan actually has its roots in Veganuary. I was living in California at the time. I had been a vegetarian for maybe 12, even 15 years, and eating a lot of dairy. Eggs, I could do without eggs. I'll do like a tofu scramble instead, or just egg if it's the taste that I'm after and the texture for that. Meat, very easy, could do without that. To abstain from meat is so simple. So being a vegetarian is quite easy, and I've never had a thing for honey. So among the food groups of eggs, honey, and meat, That was really simple. However, dairy was my weakness. I loved cream cheese, yogurt, regular cheese, cottage cheese. I mean, you name it. It's much easier when you go to the store in terms of shopping. Many things you can find. Vegetarian, vegan, you have to search a little bit harder. But being aware of the aspects in terms of factory farming, I was guilty to eat cheese. And it started to get worse and worse as I lived in California because there were so many people there who were vegan. There are so many restaurants and grocery items that make going vegan so simple. And a lot of people around you, they've all got some special diet going on. So being vegan is not that bizarre of a lifestyle choice. I wanted to challenge myself in January of 2012, 2013? I'm not quite sure. It's been a while. And see if I could do without dairy because I had already done without all these other animal products and byproducts. How hard can it be? I'm not gonna lie, the first couple days were a bit rough. I had to get creative. So that's a big thing when it comes to going vegan is it's not about reducing and pulling out and just completely canceling these flavors and these food textures and what have you. You have to replace it and substitute it, at least in the beginning, if that's what helps with your transitioning in diet. If I was craving something more on the creamy side, I would buy hummus or make hummus at home. And you actually do get over it. It's like once you get past the hump, this could be a couple days or a week or so, it becomes very easy. So it can be challenging, but that's why they call it a challenge, right? It's definitely worth your while because by the end of the month, I realized, okay, I can actually keep this up. And I was trying to be more plant-based anyway. Dairy is a huge inflammatory. I'm not lactose intolerant. However, I noticed that just by going from vegetarian to vegan, a lot of inflammation that was in my face had gone down. It's almost as if my body was inflamed and swollen and my appearance looked completely different after 1 month. I had a lot of people asking if I had lost weight. My skin cleared up a lot. So they were like, what is your secret? What are you doing? I was like, my intention was not even to lose weight. And I honestly didn't think it would have that much of an effect on my appearance, but it did. So that just goes to show what's interesting too is finding out how physical body will change. Like from the inside and out, you feel so much better and less weighed down. Dairy is really problematic. It's not even supposed to be consumed from humans. Obviously, it is supposed to be consumed only by calves, baby cows, or baby goats. And what the biggest motivation for me is of course animal issues. The reasons people go vegan is number one, animal issues. That's the most popular reason for the ethics, animal rights. Number two is their health. And number three is the environment. So it goes in that order. If you are buying with animals in mind and you're looking at your plate and you're thinking of the animals, that is the best way psychologically to motivate yourself and to say, I just can participate in the consumption of animal products. What they do to animals in factory farms, they are more common than not. Every animal these days is exploited to fulfill the demands and the needs for consumption since we are a very overpopulated world. So here are some issues, particularly with the dairy industry. You have artificial insemination. It's not a natural form of procreation. So the farmers have to physically themselves impregnate the female cattle with very unnatural methods. Then you have the aspect of when the cow gives birth to that calf. They are often ripped apart and taken away, and this is stressful both on the mama cow and the baby cow that are crying for each other, but the farmers want to get right in there and start milking the female cows for their milk and instead give the baby artificial milk, or worse, it's also tied into the veal industry. So that's right, if you're eating dairy, a lot of times the industry will prefer to destroy the calf for profit and turn it straight over to veal after only a week of its life. That poor baby cow lives a very short, sad life, slaughtered at the age of only a few days or a week old. Not only are these female cows artificially inseminated, their babies are taken away. They are usually kept in unnatural conditions. They're standing on concrete inside of these big industrial barns. They rarely get to see grass or the light of day or fresh air. They're kept indoors. It's a very unnatural life. It's just a sad situation all around. And there are so many other aspects about that I won't get into on today's episode. The biggest problems with the dairy industry involve the separation of mama and baby cow and the fact that the mama cow is artificially inseminated over and over again to keep her producing milk. And then ultimately, once she can no longer produce milk, which is age of only a couple years old, they are ultimately slaughtered for meat as well. So when you are thinking, oh, it's not that bad, it's not like I'm killing a cow, eventually you are, in a sense, because you're just supporting the industry altogether. So it's much better to abstain from any and all animal products and byproducts for these ethical reasons. So is going vegan expensive? It can be. It's however expensive or cheap as you want it to be. I mean, my main source of protein is often rice and beans, which together is a complete protein. And rice and beans is a very, very budget-friendly option and extremely healthy. It's full of protein and fiber. Some other protein-rich vegan staple foods, quinoa, lentils, peas. Frozen green peas contain a lot of protein. You have vegan protein shakes, all kinds of things. It's so easy. It's just a matter of doing a little research at the grocery, and maybe even while you're at the grocery, standing in the aisle shopping, take a bit of time, because once you discover which products you like and don't like and contain the protein you need and the flavors you want and the vitamins, the minerals that you can just keep buying products like that over and over again without having to research. So something to keep in mind. Believe it or not, over 80 billion land animals, mostly chickens, are slaughtered for food annually, which estimates reaching 83 to 92 billion plus trillions of animals, making the total number of animals killed for food well over 100 billion, potentially exceeding 1.2 trillion if you include fish per year globally. And this is the industries that should never exist. It's factory farming. It has only existed recently. The vast majority of animals that are used, exploited, and slaughtered would be chickens, ducks, pigs, turkeys, and cows. So I'm sure with a statistic like that, you are thinking, well, what difference can I make? You can make a significant difference by going vegan. If you haven't noticed, most of the world has transitioned to plant-based milk. Whether they're vegan or not, people have ultimately realized that plant-based milk is a very good lactose-free, dairy-free option, healthier, it's not that expensive, it's just generally better for the environment and for you. And the taste, especially if you're just putting it like your coffee or cereal, can barely taste the difference. It's sustainable, ethical, humane, healthy, budget-friendly. So because consumers have picked up on this globally now, a lot of cafes and restaurants have picked up on the trends as well and need to supply menu items with dairy alternatives. The milk industry has seen a significant blow. So even though you are just one person, collectively together, if we all make these small changes, it really does have an outstanding effect and impact on the world. And just do it for yourself. I sleep better at night knowing that I have not killed an animal in the name of putting it on a plate for 5-10 minutes of pleasure of tasting it and satisfaction for just 5 to 10 minutes of taste. That animal gave up their life. Like, no, I am not going to choose to do that. It's so easy to not do that. And so for the next couple podcasts, which will go through the month of January, we will be discussing different tips and tricks and support and advice on how you can actually maintain Veganuary. And maybe, just maybe, at the end of January, decide, hey, this isn't so hard after all. I want to continue this. Or now I have some ways to at least reduce my consumption and make it significantly ethically better. On a final note, if you haven't already, be sure to check out Reasons We Are Vegans. I wrote and illustrated a book. I think I finished it last year. The illustrations take forever, but it's a mixed media illustrations. I think it's different and it's fun for kids. It's a very colorful paperback book that you can buy online. You can also check out a preview electronically. And so I'll just go ahead and read to you what I've written on the back cover of the book. Finally, a children's book for vegan kids. Enjoy this colorful rhyming story that explains why we don't eat anything from animals. As the title suggests, Reasons We Are Vegans is about a child who chooses to go vegan despite tradition and the dietary choices of others. Young readers will learn about plant-based foods and that we can help our animal friends with every meal. Veganism, mindfulness, kindness, and compassion are themes of this book that discusses a challenging subject in a fun and gentle way. Reasons We Are Vegans is part of the Conscious Kids collection of books that support early teachings of ethical consumerism, a must-have for vegan parents, teachers, and activists. So it was definitely challenging writing that book because I didn't want to get into any gory details. Yet I wanted to make it convincing enough that children approximately age 8 and younger can enjoy a nice rhyming story and be encouraged to make some choices, and they might feel a little different about that, especially going against the grain of society. But do not fear. There is nothing pertaining to violent details of exploiting innocent animals. It's really a fun plant-based book. So I encourage you to check it out online. It's called Reasons We Are Vegans by Adrienne Marie. And that concludes our episode 5 for today. As always, thank you for listening. Bye.